This is what real gold ore actually looks like. You've probably seen gold before. Bright, shiny, expensive, impossible to ignore. Jewelry glowing under store lights, gold bars in movies, coins locked inside glass displays. But here's the truth most people never realize. That's not what real gold looks like in nature. Because real gold doesn't sit there sparkling in the sunlight waiting to be discovered. It hides. It hides inside rocks so ordinary, so dull, so forgettable that most people walk right past them every single day. Gray stones, rusty rocks, heavy black fragments, broken cliffs, tiny cracks in bedrock. Nothing that screams treasure, and that's exactly why gold remains hidden for so long. Because the earth doesn't advertise where it keeps its wealth. Today you're going to see what real gold ore actually looks like. Not the fantasy version, the real version. The rocks, the colors, the structures, the clues that experienced prospectors and geologists search for when they hunt for gold. And once you see them, you'll never look at rocks the same way again. 1. Quartz vein gold. The rock everyone thinks they understand. This is the classic image most people imagine when they think of gold ore. White quartz cutting through darker rock like lightning, frozen inside stone. At first glance, quartz veins don't look valuable at all. They're usually white or milky gray, sometimes slightly translucent, sometimes stained with rusty orange or brown. Most beginners pick up quartz because it looks pretty, but experts look at it differently. Because quartz veins are one of the most important pathways for gold on Earth. Deep underground, hot mineral-rich fluids move through fractures in the rock. As those fluids cool, they leave behind minerals. Quartz forms, and sometimes gold forms with it. But here's the mistake almost everyone makes. Gold rarely appears as giant, shiny chunks inside pure white quartz. Instead, it hides in tiny fractures, in iron-stained sections, in crushed or broken zones where pressure cracked the rock apart. Look closely and subtle signs begin to appear. Tiny metallic specks, thin yellow streaks, rust-colored staining around fractures, twisted or folded quartz veins that show the rock has been under stress. That's where experienced prospectors pay attention. Because quartz itself isn't the treasure. It's the fingerprint left behind by the fluids that carried gold. And sometimes, that ordinary-looking white rock contains extraordinary wealth hidden inside. 2. Sulfide gold ore, the fortune that looks worthless. Now this is where gold becomes deceptive, because some of the richest gold ore on Earth looks dark, ugly, and completely unremarkable. No sparkle, no bright yellow shine, just heavy metallic rock, gray, black, greenish, sometimes brown. This is sulfide gold ore. And inside these rocks, gold is often trapped invisibly within sulfide minerals like pyrite, arsenopyrite, chalcopyrite, and galena. Most people know pyrite as fool's gold, bright metallic yellow, shiny enough to fool beginners instantly. But here's what most people don't understand. Pyrite itself can be one of the biggest indicators that real gold is nearby. Sometimes microscopic gold is locked inside the pyrite crystals themselves. Other times, gold forms in fractures surrounding the sulfides. Then there's arsenopyrite, dull gray, nothing flashy. Most people would never even stop to examine it, but geologists know arsenopyrite is often associated with major gold systems. Look closely and you may notice metallic glints hidden in fractures, rusty oxidation staining, heavy dense rock compared to surrounding material, dark sulfide minerals clustered near quartz veins. This is where gold stops being obvious and starts becoming invisible wealth hidden inside ordinary stone. 3. Gossan, the rust that signals hidden gold. Sometimes gold leaves clues on the surface long before anyone discovers the deposit below. And one of the biggest clues is rust. Deep red, burnt orange, yellow-brown rock, crumbly, oxidized, weathered. Most people see decay. Prospectors see a signal. This rock is called Gossan, and it forms when sulfide minerals like pyrite and arsenopyrite break down after exposure to air and water. The sulfides oxidize. Iron turns to rust. But the gold? The gold often stays behind, sometimes enriched, sometimes concentrated, sometimes sitting just beneath the oxidized layer, waiting to be discovered. Look closely and you'll notice strong iron staining, honeycomb or box-like textures where sulfides once existed, lightweight oxidized rock above heavier fresh material, bright red, orange, or yellow weathering zones across hillsides or exposed rock. Gossan doesn't sparkle, it whispers. Something valuable was here, and maybe still is. 4. Ironstone, the heavy rock most people ignore. Now imagine a rock that feels heavier than it should. Dark brown, black, dense, sometimes magnetic. This is ironstone, and while it may not contain visible gold itself, it often forms in the same geological systems that carry gold-bearing fluids. That's what makes it important. Gold and iron frequently travel together underground, along faults, through fractures, inside ancient hydrothermal systems, which means when prospectors find ironstone in the right setting, they pay attention, because ironstone can act like a marker, a companion rock pointing toward deeper mineralization. Look for dark, heavy rocks compared to surrounding material, strong iron staining nearby, magnetic response in some samples, quartz veins cutting through iron-rich zones. At first glance, it looks ordinary, but to someone who understands geology, it's a clue written by the earth itself. 5. Conglomerate gold, ancient rivers that carried treasure. Now this one surprises almost everyone, because this gold ore doesn't look like ore at all. It looks like gravel. Rounded stones cemented together inside hardened rock. Smooth pebbles, mixed colors, sand and rock fused into one solid layer. This is conglomerate, and some of the biggest gold discoveries in history came from rocks exactly like this. Millions of years ago, ancient rivers carried gold downstream from mountains and exposed deposits. Because gold is heavy, it settled into river gravels along with sand and pebbles. Over time, those gravels hardened into rock, locking the gold inside. Look carefully and you may notice rounded quartz pebbles, fine metallic particles between grains, heavy mineral concentrations, ancient river-like layering preserved in stone. This type of deposit teaches an important lesson. Gold doesn't always form where it's created. Sometimes it travels, and ancient rivers became nature's conveyor belts for hidden treasure. 6. Shear zone gold, where the earth breaks apart. Deep underground, the earth is constantly moving, stretching, twisting, crushing. And where rocks break under pressure, gold-bearing fluids often move through the fractures. These areas are called shear zones. At first glance, shear zones look chaotic. Broken rock, twisted layers, jagged fractures. Nothing obviously valuable. But experienced geologists recognize them immediately, because shear zones are some of the richest pathways for gold on Earth. Look for stretched or folded rock layers, thin quartz veins cutting through fractured stone, rust staining along cracks, metallic sulfides trapped inside fractures, broken, altered, or highly deformed rock. Gold moves through weakness, and shear zones are weaknesses carved deep into the crust of the earth. Some of the richest gold deposits ever discovered formed in places that look completely destroyed, because sometimes the earth breaks open just enough to let treasure in. 7. Bedrock cracks, where gold finally stops moving. And finally, one of the simplest gold traps in nature, cracks in bedrock. Gold is incredibly heavy. When water carries sediments downstream, lighter material keeps moving, but gold drops. It sinks, and eventually it becomes trapped in tiny crevices inside solid bedrock. Sometimes for decades, sometimes for centuries. Look closely in riverbeds and exposed rock surfaces, and you might notice narrow fractures packed with black sand, tiny flakes hidden deep in cracks, Small nuggets wedged into crevices. Heavy minerals concentrated in low-pressure pockets. This is one of the most reliable natural gold traps on Earth. Not flashy, not dramatic, just gravity slowly collecting hidden wealth over time. The truth most people never realize. Here's what changes once you understand all of this. You stop seeing rocks the way everyone else sees them. That quartz vein is no longer just a white rock. That rusty hillside is no longer just weathered dirt. That heavy black stone isn't ordinary anymore. That crack in bedrock suddenly matters. You begin noticing patterns. Quartz near iron staining, sulfides near fractures, Gossan above deeper mineralization, ironstone following ancient fault systems. Everything starts connecting. And then you realize something uncomfortable. Gold was never truly hidden. Most people simply never knew how to see it. That's why some people walk over treasure their entire lives without ever noticing. Because the difference between someone who finds gold and someone who doesn't usually isn't luck, it's awareness. And now the next time you pick up a rock, you won't just see a rock anymore. You'll see clues.